Welcome to another episode of a Midnight Double Feature. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and for listening to this episode of the podcast. On this episode, we have Colin Watkinson, and man, was this a fun interview. This was Colin was absolutely gracious and really fun guy to speak to. He got into his whole Emmy process, how he won the Emmy, how he prepared for the Emmys. Preparing to shoot The Handmaid's Tale and establishing the tone for that, and Entourage, and trying not to be star-studded, or starstruck. Yes, there we go. But look, thank you so much again for listening to this episode. And look, if you do want to check out the video portion of this podcast, it's on Patreon. It's available to Green Room members. Head to patreon.com/midnight double feature. As with all of our interviews, we record these on video as well. But look, if you do want us to get more guests like Colin, support us. Just support us in any way that you can. Rate and review us on iTunes. Follow us on our socials. Share us. Spread the good word. And we'll be able to get more great guests like Colin Watkinson. So, guys, again, without any further ado, here's Colin Watkinson. Thank you so much again for listening. Enjoy. Colin Watkinson, welcome to Midnight Double Feature. We're so honored to have you, and thank you so much for fitting us into your busy schedule. I know you've been doing shoots, so really appreciate this, man.
Great to meet you. Yeah.
So look, before we dive into, I guess, the meat of your career and what you've accomplished, I kind of wanted to get a view on, because, and I'm not name dropping here, but we had another cinematographer on the show, and I'm going to go ahead and I guess leave his name out of it. But I kind of want to get your view on the ongoing debate of shooting in film versus shooting digitally. I know that with shooting a film, a TV show, you don't necessarily have the luxury of shooting in film, but you do have your purists out there who prefer to shoot on film, features and stuff like that. If you had the luxury to choose, would you still go with digital?
Yes. I'm a complete convert. It suits my style of work. And I'm working constantly. Instead of trying to go back and constantly work on that, engineer how the film side was going. I've gone down the digital route, and I enjoy it. I think my work's way better because of it. I'm braver. I'm stronger. I'm more inventive, more creative with it, and So I'll never go back. And anyone that does, it's fine. That's great. Enjoy yourself, knock yourself out. But I'm a complete digital convert.
Yeah, nice. I mean, that's awesome to hear. Honestly, a lot of people just, just turn their shoulder at digital, and I'm just like, man, if it's easier for you and if you're confident with it, I mean, absolutely. You don't have to be Quentin Tarantino all the time. You don't have to be,
yeah.
But yeah, no, that's awesome to hear. I'm glad to hear that. But here's a question that I guess I got from one of our audience, one of our listeners. What do you think is a sign of bad cinematography? When you're sitting down and watch something, and you don't have to obviously name names or specifics, but when you see something and you're just like, that doesn't really stick with me, what absolutely kind of rubs you the wrong way?
I don't get it's not a case of being rubbed the wrong way. It's when I watch something and I'm bored or I'm not engaged, I'll check out. And there's so much content around, I'm always looking for something that's engaging. Why is it engaging? What are people doing? That's what I'm looking for. The best thing I've seen so far this year has been Ted Lasso.
Oh,
not a lot to take cinematography wise, but hey, how to tell a story, how to engage, how to make people feel things. That's the trick.
In a time when people need to feel things, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I just they just dropped season two. The first episode just aired last week, and man, I could not praise that show any higher. It is absolutely just a
Me
warm
neither.
blanket, you know.
Yeah, it's like endorphin TV to me. It's like,
Yes,
it releases certain sort of feelings in you that is like, this is amazing. All I'm doing is watching a TV show, and now I feel like this. That's amazing.
absolutely. And Jason Sudeikis is just such a nice. Well, he comes off as such a nice and humble person in real life. You know, I mean, obviously after the cup a couple of weeks ago, he wore the the T-shirt with the three Englishmen's names on it after
You
all the
did. That's
backlash
right.
they
That's
got.
right. You did. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just he comes across as someone who's just genuine, and it
Yes.
really adds so
Yeah.
much to that TV show. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're sitting down and watching something, is it possible for you to switch off your professional brain, or are you always taking note of composition and lighting? Because I'm
No,
always
I'm
just
really
like,
trying to switch off. I'm
yeah,
really
you
trying to
are.
switch off. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm really trying to switch off. And it's all about, it's immersion.
Yeah,
That's what it's like. And I want to be immersed, and I want to come out at the end of it knowing that I was immersed, and not lifting out of it for 1 second while I'm there.
yeah.
And that's it's such a hard thing to do, to completely engage people, especially for an hour, 2 hours of feature film. You ever watched anything that you've worked on, and you with people in the room, and they're looking at the phone, or looking at, and you're going, yeah, I've lost that. You're lost. It's gone. It's gone. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's fine. It's totally fine. You have to accept it. That's the reality right here, is that they are bored at this moment. I mean, I remember showing my wife showed her sister something I'd done. I think it was like 2 minutes, and she couldn't even watch it for 2 minutes. And that just and it's fine, and I get it. It's like, and because I used to work in commercials, and you can bore someone in 30 seconds. It's insane, and so it's all about. I've always, it's like, if you've got to earn respect to people to watch you. Don't be. It's like, if you're just shooting it and just like going for it, it's like, the chances are, boom, flick. You're over. You're a history in the flick department, and that drives me to sort of like make my stuff better. So yeah, when I watch it, it's like I'm really going all in. I put everything I know behind me. If I'm starting to look at lighting, it's like, yeah, I'm out. Obviously, I'm out.
That's such a great perspective. I mean, I'm always just like, and I really need to stop doing this because I'm driving my girlfriend insane. But I'm always just like, that's a cool shot. That's a great shot. Look how well that's lit. I mean, I'm always just like, pointing
Right.
things out, and I got to stop doing it. Just ugh.
Each to their own. However you enjoy what this medium is each. It really is so personal.
Yeah.
That's why there's such a water cooler sort of thing. TV shows where people want to debate and discuss,
Yeah.
and because it's all about real human stuff, right? That's what it's about. It's all stories. That's all we've ever done, is told each other stories, and this is what this medium is. So it's all up for discussion and interpretation, and how you enjoy it. It's all down to your own personal sort of stuff, right?
No, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. You talked about immersion, and this is not a question that I had, but um, Sydney. I'm in Sydney. We've just gone back into lockdown again. So I'm missing the cinemas. I'm missing the cinematic experience. I want to watch everything in the movies because I don't. I love having my distractions taken away from me, and I'm just like immersed in what I'm watching. So, what's your? I mean, like, what's your take on, I guess, streaming and like this whole push to put movies in TVs on the TV screen? You got obviously the big Marvel stuff and
I
all
mean,
that.
it's life moves on, things happen, things occur. Streaming is, without the streamers, we wouldn't have as much great content. They are driving it forward. Which is amazing.
Speaking of Ted Lasso, right?
Yeah, exactly. Apple's first one. I mean, everything else they've done is garbage. But it's like, it's it's great because it's a great competition, which I love, and it really is a real competitive world out there. And I love that side of, of the business as well. That we're all in this sort of competitive world, but yeah, and with TVs the way they are now, I just finally invested in a new TV after 10 years, and it's like, going to a movie theater, someone eating popcorn right in your ear, stinking of it's not the experience. I don't feel the cinema experience has moved on and with the times. I kind of stopped quite enjoying it because it was just it wasn't enjoyable. People talk and they keep the lights on in Britain they keep the lights on. Why are you keeping the lights on? Health and safety. It's like, isn't it? This is supposed to be the experience of full immersion. It's like, now I know I'm in a cinema the entire time.
They keep the lights on? Really? That's a thing?
Yeah, just a fraction, just for the health and safety aspect. Britain's mad about health and safety. And, and in America, it's like people talk and they're eating and everything and smells. It's like, oh my God. So, I don't mind with your big TVs at home. My TV's 75 inches. I sit there and it's like, it's a great experience and you watch it when you want. So I'm all, it doesn't bother me. Again, I think cinema will catch up, and the group experience of enjoying stuff will always be there with us. But for me right now, I find it, it's not what I want, and it will change, I think, over years to sort of catch up.
Yeah,
it might become more niche, which that'll be, is that a shame? I don't know. What does it mean? Just because you watch it on you don't watch it on a 60-foot screen, you watch it on your big ass telly at home.
Yeah.
Is it any different? Does it matter? You could have your mates round.
Right.
But,
and it might be cheaper.
Yeah.
Right.
It will. It's like, the cinemas they've been strangled by the film companies for years. They make all their money on their popcorn. It's like, well, that's not right, is it? It's not really let's all do this together.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, having worked at a cinema for 5 years before what I'm doing now, I've heard all of the complaints about overpriced popcorn, and I'm just like, look, this is how they make their money. So, I mean, it's going to be expensive, right?
Yeah, and but it shouldn't be that way. It should be, but I don't know what it is. I don't know where it needs to go. I don't have the answer to that. But to me, in the end, it was like, it wasn't a great experience anymore. It wasn't. It didn't have that edge to it that it used to have. I used to love, when I was a kid. Yeah, I don't even remember the last film I saw on the cinema. I really don't.
Yeah.
You? What was yours?
What was mine? Yeah, please. What was mine? Wow. Okay. Seeing as the cinemas. Okay, so I watch everything in the cinema, so don't judge me. It was the latest Fast and Furious film.
Okay.
Again, don't judge.
That was the laughing judge. Oh, okay.
No, I mean, look, we
your escapism, right?
Right, exactly. Well, I mean,
big time escapism.
Yeah, that was the big film that was billed as the return of cinemas, and New South Wales here in Australia was doing pretty well COVID wise, so we opened up pretty extensively. And it was a packed cinema, the most busiest I've seen it in a very long time.
Wow.
And it was a great experience to watch it with people. The movie was garbage, but with people it was amazing.
Yeah.
But then a week later it just broke out again. But I mean, it was just for that little increment of time. It was just like, man, I feel like
it was good to be back together again.
Yeah, it totally was. It totally was. And I've listened to so many podcasts over the last year or so who are, lamenting the death of the cinematic experience and things like that. And it doesn't really hit you until it's taken away from you, and then you're back into it, and you're just like, whoa, okay, yeah,
right.
I feel it. Well, for me at least, but
yeah,
no, absolutely. Colin, I'm currently watching The Handmaid's Tale. I was rushing, well, not rushing, but I was really pressing to finish it by the time to get up to date by the time we jumped on here. But I'm halfway through episode 4, season 4 rather, And I just finished an episode actually that you directed called Nightshade. And that's when I kind of messaged you, and I was like, man, I got to push to have you on the show on the podcast because uh, yeah, this is we got to talk. We got to talk. Um, but coincidentally, my girlfriend and I had literally just finished a rewatch of Entourage, which you also
Right.
worked on. Um, and I don't usually love asking these kinds of questions, but what was it like working on Entourage? Because I mean, you have all of these guests like Ti and Mark Wahlberg, and was there any level of you being starstruck on that show because it's all about Hollywood and glitz and glamour?
I think I was at the time. Uh, I was in such a sort of state of mind that this opportunity I was given was like the best thing I've been given for a while. It was a gift. Mark Mylod, for some reason, pushed for me. He really did, and it meant I could move to America. It changed my life completely. So what the show, it was strange that I was so like busy trying to sort of just do the job. I mean, the first day I'd never done telly before. I can't actually believe, I can't understand why they even hired me. It was insane. So I'd never done television before. And the first scout day, we went to, jumped out this, scout van into a place, and Mark comes in, he goes, right, we're going to do this. And he spins 360 and and out there and in there and he's out the door. And everyone's just staring at me going, what are we doing? I was like, fuck. And it was like trial by fire.
Holy shit.
And it was, so that was my concentration, was like getting it done, and I had amazing line producer, a guy called Wayne Carmona. And it was just, I feel really lucky to have worked with Wayne at that point in my career, because it was nothing, there was no problems. It was like, Colin, our challenge today is da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. And he was just so like gentle and mellow. And if I'd offered something up, he said, that's not what we do in Entourage. And we need to and so he just guided me. He was just so, it was like, yeah, bump. And why was I brought on there to do whatever I do? And I tried hard to do that, and had a great time. I still, at the time, I didn't think I was going to go into television. So I was like, I'm not doing this again. This is TV. I don't do TV. I do movies. I don't know why the fuck I said that. I still, to this day, it's like, I think it's just posture. At some point, you have to get posture to like what you want to be.
Right.
And it was just strange posturing that I had. And it was really odd, because like if I carried on in TV then, I probably would have been successful earlier. Or maybe not at all. Maybe not at all. I don't know. But Entourage was great. I loved it. As for everything that went on in it, it was just this sort of wild ride from start to finish, which I just thought, everything that went with it was just fantastic. Fast cars.
Would have loved to be a fly on that set, man. Like, I mean, that is, yeah, like as you were saying before I rudely interrupted, man. Fast cars, great locations, just glitz and glamour. Just it's such a
really well managed. You got to, it's that I did learn very quickly that Mark is an executive producer, was an executive producer on the job, and his focus on what the story and the characters are and how they move forward in each episode was just as insanely intently focused as the creator,
Doug Ellen.
Yeah, Doug's like the oddest guy, but fuck, he works hard. I mean, it was season 5, and that guy was still in there, right? And he would turn up, and he was like a perfectly placed creative. He would let his director do his thing, and it was all about the bits of comedy, just that bit of that with the actors. And I was just really impressed how these guys had it down. This is how you do it. It's like, you set it up and then you tune it. You keep tuning. You don't just, no riding, no, just let it go. It's, even at season 5, these guys were working really finite details. It's great.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, man. I love that show. And so you came on a interesting episode. It was titled Fantasy Island, and it's just set just after In the Story. their big movie has bombed at Cannes, and you pick up with, I guess, Vince in Mexico on these beaches in this amazing location. So I if that's your first episode shooting,
Well, I split that episode. I think it was
okay,
me and the other DP split that first episode. Was it the first one? So I
yeah,
didn't actually get. I
live
didn't
one.
actually get to go to the beach location. I just did everything else in that episode.
You got the short shift.
Yeah, but that was fine because it was only like 5 minutes of the show. But yeah, it was great. It was just a great thing to do. A great experience.
Yeah, totally. I mean, absolutely. That's such a. It seems like such a great time. Now,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about contrast because um The Handmaid's Tale is nothing like Entourage in terms of tone, in terms of just anything. You served as one of the show's primary cinematographers, and you won your Emmy for the pilot episode. Sorry, like I said, it is very early here, so I can barely talk.
Yeah.
um, was
You're a great
there
man.
was there any trepidation on your part in taking on such a heavy show? And like before you took it on, did you ever envision that it would turn out to be as successful as it is?
Yeah, trepidation. Yeah, loads of working for Reed Morano ASC was what am I doing? But she convinced me that I had a role in the show, and I went to Canada, and I got to Canada. I was like, what am I doing here? I literally do not know what I'm doing here. And she said it will present itself. Don't worry.
Oh wow!
And and I had the most amazing production designer, Julie Berghoff, Anne Crabtree, costume designer extraordinaire. Bruce's writing was just off the charts for this, in terms of the interpretation of the book. And yeah, it was just like off we go. And it was Reed's very much, she's very much a hard ass. And I've always worked with these sort of visionaries. I've been lucky. That's that's the kind of people I'm attracted to, and I love just like backing up the vision. I'm good at that. I'm a great wingman, right? And so that was it was just like, this is what we're doing. Off we go, and we're going to do this. And at the time, we didn't think anything about anything. It's just like, well, off we go. We're going to tell this story, and we're going to tell it as best we can. And once we'd seen the pilot, it's like, oh, this is kind of special. There was like a lot of furore. And I remember saying to the guys, everyone calm the fuck down. We got we got the rest of the season to do. Let's just put off, get our head down and do the season. I'm still really good friends with all the people I did that with. We really did put ourselves through 9 months of hard work, pushing ourselves and everything. It was great. It was a great time. And so when it was so successful, it was just like, that's awesome. I'd never expected. I'd never really thought about anything like that.
Colin, it looks
I hadn't really lived in that
fucking
world.
gorgeous. I mean, this
Yeah.
show looks fucking gorgeous, and yeah, not only that, it's just this harrowing story. But I mean, your work specifically, man, I am constantly floored by by the visuals in this show
Oh,
that you
thanks,
helped
man.
establish, man. Like
Yeah, it's a big team of people
yeah,
for sure, right? So it's been really fun doing it. It's funny now being on the backside of it.
yeah,
It's like I don't, and you want us to move on. I can't keep doing those same visuals. And people, you get hired. You go, you're not going to do the Handmaid's Tale, right? No, I'm not going to do the Handmaid's Tale. I didn't do the Handmaid's Tale before I did it. It's like, why would I do it? Why would I just give you that? And it's like, wow. I'm working with a director right now that we worked with the Handmaid's Tale, and there was a small concern at some point that we would just deliver the Handmaid's Tale. It's like, well, there's going to be elements of it visually that are similar compositionally, because that's me and him together.
right.
And when two people join together, there's always going to be a sense of how they work together.
Right.
But, yeah, well, the last, and then you start thinking, oh my god, I can't have this, I can't have that, because I desperately don't want it to be the Handmaid's Tale.
Right, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
So the funny, the best thing you've ever done, and all of a sudden that becomes like it's like, oh my god, I'm steering away from it.
Yeah. No, totally, and like that. I guess that's important for you as well. I mean, you don't want to, if you're taking on work in the future, you don't want to always be pointing to the same kind of thing, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you need to show some variety.
yeah.
Um,
Look at Roger
yeah.
Deakins. I mean, how many films?
Oh
Just that guy
God.
alone has done so many amazing films. Each and every last one of them has its own
Right.
distinct style,
Right.
and it's perfect for the film.
Look at 1917 and look at 24 Blade Runner 2049, right? Both of
Yeah,
which he
yeah,
won an Oscar
yeah,
for.
yeah,
But both look so distinctly different. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, he's like these. No, he is like the talk about the fucking yardstick.
Yeah.
It's like we're all just failing in our sort of in his wake.
Right.
Really.
I mean, that is, yeah, absolutely. That is the golden man. Like that is the gold standard, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Robert Richardson as well. I mean, like Hoyt van Hoytema. I mean, they're all just way up there.
yeah,
um, but you already kind of touched on this already a little bit, Colin. But the visuals in The Handmaid's Tale are just so absolutely striking and incredibly unique. I think. I haven't seen stuff like this in any other show. The other cinematographer that I was actually about to mention earlier in the show when I started the interview was Fabian Wagner. Who did Game of Thrones. I was lucky enough to talk to him. And it's crazy because both shows deal with such intense imagery, such intense themes, but they're shot so differently. What was the conversation like between yourself, between Bruce, between Reed, in establishing the look of the show from episode one, from that episode Offred? Um, specifically when you contrast the look of scenes in Gilead versus another location like Canada, in the show, because I mean,
yeah.
obviously,
So Reed. When she said it will present itself, it was like what she was after from me was this sort of like real strict compositional sense. Stuff that I'd done with Tarsem for years.
yeah,
There's certainly a throw to Kubrick in there, and that's what she wanted. It's like it's like classic elegance. So that's how she wanted Gilead. So and I thought Gilead. So it's like presenting itself again. It's all about pretense Gilead, right? It's all about presentation, and so that's what she wanted. And then it's like the flashback. So episode one it's all trying to it's trying to set you up, like going look up from your fucking phone.
yeah,
So this is real. This could be real. It was right around the time of Trump. And it's like these things happen. And so the flashbacks were all about to be as visceral and real as possible. And that's Reed, right? That's what Reed does. Reed does this sort of like immersive handheld, this sort of you feel right in there. So her thing was to combine these two things, and that's what she did. And then it was like she left. And maids are like, oh, then we got like 7 more episodes to do. What the fuck do we do now? So, but we'd set like certain parameters, and then we built on that from those big building blocks. And Mike Barker coming in episode 4, he sort of grabbed it. He was like kind of the best guy to come in after Reed had like set this thing up, and an impossible task to sort of like carry on. But he did it, and it was amazing, and I really enjoyed it, But it was just about that. It's like what is this show, and then to stay really firm with it. But I thought all shows do that. Entourage did that. I would say, put such and such. She said, no, we don't do that on Entourage. Oh, really? Yeah. And what about no, we don't do that on Entourage. And it's like I loved it because where your rules are. So I actually really. So I thought I'm just setting in every show I do. You make a pilot and you set a bunch of rules, and you live or die by them. You make them story based, which all campaigns were, and it kind of worked because it was like we stayed true to ourselves as much as we could to create this world. That so when you're there, you know exactly where you are, right, in Handmaid's Tale.
yeah.
What part of the world you're in every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no question as to whether what you're watching is a flashback or what's if it's in Gilead, if it's in Canada or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, visually everything makes sense, and
yeah,
that's obviously what you're going for. Absolutely.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and like 4 seasons in, I continue to remain riveted. So yeah, I mean, I think just everyone involved is just absolutely killing it on the show. So you kicked off, obviously behind the camera on The Handmaid's Tale, but you ended up directing a few episodes too. So was there a steep learning curve between shooting the show and directing it? How did you find that transition?
Um, it was like I don't want to be a director, and it was never in my sort of like where I was after, and it was offered to me, and I just thought, why wouldn't I try it and take a look at it? So I did. It's still not for me, you know, but I'm glad I've tried it. It's made. I think hopefully it'll make me a better cinematographer. That I will service my directors better from what I know now, and that's what I try and take. That's what I try and take from it all. How can I help people who I work for? And it's like it has changed me, which is great. Changed me for the better, hopefully. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to be a director.
Well, I mean, is it the? I mean, is it just the litany of things you have to be able to do? I mean, on set every day.
Yeah, I mean, I like my directors. I've worked with many over the years, and the ones I'm attracted to are these kind of people that they retain so much information about so much. I'm not that person. I can't even recall. I couldn't even tell you. And I love architecture, but it's like name me that. Names gone, whatever,
Right.
time, dates. I have no
You
feeling for any of
retain
that.
what's important to you, right?
I don't know. It's just, but
Right.
I know what I am. I know I'm not that sort of. And I think good directors are able to what they do. They pull, or they know where it sits. And it was on Handmaid's Tale. It was easy for me because it was given. I already had built it together, so it wasn't. I wasn't going outside my wheelhouse or anything. I knew exactly where I was meant to be. But when you like in world building, it's a lot,
Yeah.
and you could do it. If I did it, it'd be just like badly because I know I don't have the breadth to do it properly. So that's basically it. I'd rather work with people who can do this really well rather than me doing it sort of averagely.
No, I mean, look, that makes sense. That's something that I would be totally, I mean, terrified of doing. I mean, especially with Handmaid's Tale. I mean, the way they build out the world so subtly, it's just, yeah, perfect. But look, given that it is such a heavy show and it deals with such existential themes, and having directed a few episodes, how did the cast and crew kind of keep a level head in between scenes? Because you're dealing with such crazy, crazy stuff in
Yeah,
the actual
just
show.
insanely talented cast, dude.
Yeah,
Every last one of them is fantastically talented, and that's yeah. I can't say any more than that. It's just
dominated the Emmy nominations
so
this year, by
many,
the way.
just like this professional, perfect. Every last one of them was so good at what they do.
Yeah,
And Lizzie Moss sort of like she leads the way and she can step in and out. It's like everyone has their process, but they were just magical to work with.
that's so awesome, man. I mean, like I'm watching this and I'm just like, man, like it must be tough to shoot this. And then I jump on Instagram and because I follow Elizabeth Moss and there's photos of them behind the scenes smiling and laughing with each other. There's a
Yeah,
photo of Yvonne Strahovski and Elizabeth Moss who obviously don't get along in the show, and it's so heartwarming and I
yeah,
constantly have to check in.
yeah. No, it's great. It's great. It's
Absolutely.
to do these sort of like hard subjects, there has to be an air of levity.
Definitely. Definitely.
It's just otherwise, it's just too much.
Yeah, no, totally. Colin, it's not every day we get an Emmy Award winner on the podcast. um, and you're absolutely no stranger to the Emmys, having been nominated multiple times too. So I kind of wanted to take this chance to ask you what that process was like. I mean, the lead up to the event, preparing for speeches, and when you hear your name called, what are you feeling? What's going through your mind, man?
Oh, it's yeah. I just didn't expect any of it. And then it was just this, I had one friend, a director friend out in New York, and he just said, just enjoy the moment. These moments will be over in a while, but so enjoy it right now. So I did, I really fucking did. And, going to the show, and, Joe, my wife, she had a great old time, she's in a dress, and blah, blah. And and I didn't think anything of it, off we went. And it was like really weird. I hadn't really written a speech because I just didn't really expect it to win. So it was like this half-written speech on a bit of scraps of paper, dedicated to my dad who died, because that was sad, that he wasn't there to experience that, and then, but the next year I got nominated again, and I took my mother. It's like, this is amazing. And then the next year after that, I took my kids. Like, this is great. So I've tried to enjoy it as much as I can. If I never go again, it's been great, right? It's been great. And that's all, it's fine. And I have this beautiful statue in my freaking lounge that I feel very proud of, it's great.
That's awesome, man. It's so well deserved. Congratulations on the win and the nominations. It's 100% well deserved. So look, man, I kind of want to ask you. I mean, you're as we've been talking, kind of like behind the scenes, outside of this recording, you're working currently. What's on the horizon for you? I mean, that you can talk about. If there is anything you can.
Well, I just did a show called The Power with Reed, who did the first 3 episodes of Handmaid's Tale, and I'm really excited by that. It's based on a book by Naomi Alderman. I'm excited for the world to see it. I think Reed's done, has taken us to another level of storytelling. It's by the same people that did Chernobyl, so these guys know what they're doing.
Good Lord!
And it's cool. Yeah, it was a arduous process. It was a long, for just 2 episodes. I was on it a long time, especially with the pandemic. But I'm happy about that. And then I'm working right now on a film with Mike Barker, from one of the directors of Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
And it's a film called Luckiest Girl Alive. And it's great. I'm excited by it. It's a hard, it's a difficult film tonally. Again, it's about uncomfortable subjects. But I'm excited for doing it. I mean, we're having fun doing it. It's hard, but it's great. I'm excited for. I'm can't wait to see how this one's going to come out.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's really, really promising. That's awesome. I'm so keen. I mean, honestly, Entourage and Handmaid's Tale have put you on the map. I mean, not just for me, but I guess for a lot of people too, man. So anyone listening to this as well. I can pretty much guarantee that they'll be checking those 2 out. So that's awesome. So one last question, and this is kind of like the closer. This is a fun one. Okay. Well, relatively fun one that I ask everyone. You got a Sunday afternoon, right? I mean, Sunday afternoon, just for you, right? You're not working. Your family's out, whatever, getting ice cream. I don't know. You've found yourself alone, in front of a TV, streaming service. It's playing every kind of movie. Our podcast is called Midnight Double Feature. What 2 movies do you put on back to back?
Back to back? Oh. Probably Blade Runner and Blues Brothers.
Oh, nice.
Probably.
Nice.
Probably.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah. They're my 2 favorite films. For if you want, well, visuals, it's Blade Runner. The first Blade Runner is still one of the best looking films ever. Every single frame is a winner. And then the Blues Brothers is just purely one of the funniest films ever.
Yeah.
So I love it. Yeah. That would be my double feature.
God damn. That's a strong pick. I mean, I don't think I've asked this question a bunch of times to people, and I have had strong answers. That's up there with someone else answering Jaws and Jurassic Park. I mean, yeah, dude, that's awesome. But look, man, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to do this in between shoots. I know you're busy.
Really good to meet you, man. Yeah, really,
likewise.
really.
Likewise, man. This is and dude, you have an open invitation to come onto this anytime. Like, I mean, if you ever just want to riff about movies, if you want to talk about Blues Brothers, if you want to talk about Blade Runner, I mean, I'm always open to it. I mean, my co-host's
Awesome.
name is also Colin, so this is gonna be very awesome.
Awesome.
But no, man, I'm really looking forward to those two projects you have coming out as well. And whether you do go back to Handmaids, if you do, I'm looking forward to it, or whatever other TV show you decide to work on.
Cool.